Labour says these policies are racist and immoral, and by implication, reform supporters, reform voters, reform sympathisers are racist too.
Nigel Farage's fiery clash with Keir Starmer shakes up Labour's image. Okay, this wasn't supposed to happen. When Nigel Farage stepped onto that stage, most people expected the usual a few provocative lines, a jab at the establishment, and a crowd ready to cheer. But what followed? It sent shockwaves straight through British politics and left Keir Starmer's team scrambling for damage control. This wasn't just another Farage soundbite. It was a political moment that hit Labour right where it hurts: image, confidence, and public perception. Let's unpack exactly what went down and why people are saying this could shift Labour's tone heading into the next election. So here's how it started. Farage, never one to miss an opportunity to stir debate, appeared at a public policy forum last week, one that included speakers from across the political spectrum. Keir Starmer, the Labour leader, had spoken earlier in the day outlining his vision for a fairer, more stable Britain. It was calm, measured, textbook Starmer, serious, competent, and maybe a little too safe. Then came Farage's turn, and within seconds, he flipped the room's energy on its head. According to several attendees, he began by saying, "We keep hearing about stability, about being sensible, but what about being bold? What about standing for something real again?" He didn't name Starmer directly, not yet. But the tone was unmistakable. Moments later, he turned directly to the Labour leader's earlier remarks and said, "If Sir Keir Starmer is the future of British politics, then we're in for a future without conviction." The audience gasped, half in laughter, half in disbelief. Farage had landed a punch, and he knew it. Now, love him or hate him, Nigel Farage has a skill most politicians envy. He understands how to own the room. He doesn't speak like a politician. He speaks like someone who's had enough of them. And that right there is his secret weapon. Starmer, on the other hand, has built his reputation on professionalism and restraint. But in a media-driven world, calm often gets drowned out by charisma. And that's exactly what happened here. Within minutes, clips of Farage's remarks flooded X, TikTok, and YouTube. The hashtags #Farage versus Starmer and #Labour leadership started trending across political circles. One viral post read, "Farage just said what millions are thinking: Starmer's too polished to be passionate." Another fired back, "Farage's bluster doesn't fix the country. Starmer at least has a plan." But no matter where you stand, one thing was clear: this wasn't just about two men trading words. It was about the fight for Britain's political soul. Behind the scenes, Labour insiders were reportedly frustrated not because of what Farage said, but because of how easily it caught fire. A senior aide was quoted in one outlet saying, "It's infuriating. We're working on policy, he's working on punchlines, and he's still the one dominating the conversation." And that's the thing. Farage doesn't need a seat in Parliament to make an impact. His influence comes from the microphone, from the soundbite that sticks in people's heads. One veteran political journalist summed it up perfectly. Starmer wants to look prime ministerial. Farage just wants to look authentic. And in 2025, authenticity wins. Let's be honest, this clash isn't new. Farage has been chipping away at Labour's working-class vote for years. From Brexit to border policy, he's consistently targeted the same voter base that once stood firmly behind Labour. And while Starmer has tried to pull Labour back toward the political centre, many say it's made the party look cautious, even bland. That's exactly what Farage exploited on that stage. He painted Labour as a party afraid to offend anyone and inspire no one. It's the kind of line that lingers, not because it's policy-heavy, but because it taps into emotion. It speaks to frustration, to fatigue. And that's why this moment hit harder than most. Now, let's talk about the fallout. Within hours, Labour MPs were publicly defending Starmer, calling the comments cheap and predictable. Shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper told reporters, "We're focused on delivering change, not on the circus of political theatre." But the headlines were already written. Farage upstages Starmer with fiery attack. Labour shaken by populist surge in messaging. Even some Labour supporters admitted privately that Starmer needs to show more fire. One longtime member told a political podcast, "He's smart, he's solid, but he's not connecting. People need passion again." And that's the takeaway here. Because Farage, for all his controversies, still knows how to speak the language of emotion, and that's where modern politics is fought. This single moment might not change votes tomorrow. But it does feed a growing perception that Labour, despite being ahead in the polls, is struggling to inspire genuine excitement. And when excitement fades, apathy takes over. That's dangerous territory for any party on the brink of power. Political analyst James O'Brien summed it up in a radio discussion. The biggest risk for Labour isn't Farage stealing their voters. It's Farage stealing their energy. Think about that. Energy. Not votes, energy. That's what keeps supporters fired up. That's what drives turnout. And that's what moments like this threaten to drain. But here's the twist: Keir Starmer might quietly be fine with this. Because while Farage dominates the headlines, Starmer's strategy has always been the long game. He's betting that by the time the election rolls around, people will want calm after chaos, stability after showmanship. And maybe he's right. But in today's world, where one viral clip can define a narrative, staying silent too long can make you look weak. So the big question now is, will Starmer fight back? Will he meet Farage's energy with passion of his own? Or keep playing it safe, hoping competence will outlast charisma? One thing's for sure, this wasn't just a random outburst. It was a preview of the battle lines being drawn for Britain's next election. Image versus integrity, performance versus policy, Farage's emotion versus Starmer's calculation. And the truth is, the public loves a good clash. That's why this moment won't just disappear. It'll echo through talk shows, timelines, and voter minds. Because whether you cheer for Starmer or Farage, this confrontation reminded everyone that in politics, perception is everything.